So, the third and fourth lesson is about location identifiers. So, location identifiers are part of blueprint reading. So, for blueprint reading, we have 3 location identifiers. And I will divide this into 2 for your plates. We have activities number 3 and 4. So, location identifiers, we use isometric views of an aircraft to determine the location of the damage, or what we call here as errors. So, we have 3 fuselage stations, water lines, and Buttock Lights. So, we'll discuss this one by one. So, for fuselage stations and water lines, magkasama sila because we use the same view of the aircraft, which is the right side view. So, this is actually activity number 3. So, this is the figure that we use for fuselage stations and water lines. So, this is called the right side view of an aircraft. So, the errors are read using the right side view. The x-axis, which is this axis, this is the x-axis, is for the fuselage stations, while the y-axis, this one, the y-axis is for the water lines. All measurements are in inches. For all the location identifiers, all measurements are in inches. So, if you can see, these lines by 10 yan, so they are by inches. So, 10 inches ang per line na ganyan. So, again, ang fuselage stations and water lines ay magkasama sa isang view, which is the right side view of the aircraft. So, this is the figure that we're going to use. Okay. If you look closely, we only use the first quadrant of the Cartesian coordinate plane, this one. So, diba, ito yung coordinate plane, this quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, we are only going to use this one, this quadrant 1. So, it means we only have positive values. Kasi, diba, ang coordinates ng nasa first quadrant ay positive, positive. X and Y are both positive. So, each line here are equivalent to 10 inches. So, ayan. If you can see the figure clearly, this one is 10 inches. So, and so on and so forth. Meron naman silang palatandaan. May 50, 100. By 50s sila. So, fuselage station again are in the x-axis, and then water lines are in the y-axis. So, positive lang kasi ito yung 0, 0. This is your origin. This one. This one is your origin. So, wala tayong values to the left and pababa. Kaya, positive lang yung values na meron tayo. So, how do we read using fuselage stations? Okay. For fuselage stations, using the x-axis, graphs are vertical lines. Bakit vertical line? Kasi doon sila tatama sa x-axis. So, pag horizontal line yan, malamang di ka naman makakapagbasa sa fuselage station kasi hindi siya tatama doon. Kaya, vertical lines ang graph ng fuselage stations. The reference point, or 0, 0, pagdating sa fuselage station, is called the reference 0. Bakit importanteng alam nyo yung reference point? Kasi, when it comes to blueprint reading na, kailangan yung indicate yung reference point para alam nyo, kahit hindi natin sabing fuselage station siya, alam nyo na fuselage station yung gamit nating location identifier, or if water lines siya. Okay, for example, this is the graph. This is an example of a graph of an error. So, for fuselage station, again, the graphs are vertical. So, we have 3 na kailangan yung i-identify when it comes to blueprint reading. We have the error code, reading, and description. Pare-parehong may ganyan ang fuselage stations, water lines, and buttock lines. So, lahat ng location identifiers kailangan ng ganito. Error code, reading, description. So, for fuselage station, eto, if you can see, this is 100, and this is the graph of the error. So, isusulat nyo lang, for fuselage station, it's FS-100. Don't forget the dash, para ma-indicate na yun yung area of the location. So, it's 100. FS-100. For the reading, lalagay nyo lang, the code error is located at FS-100. Just copy the error code. And then for the description, this is where you get very specific. Na kahit hindi natin i-indicate na nasa fuselage station siya, alam nyo na nandun siya. How? Because of the reference point. So, ilalagay nyo, the code error is located at 100 inches. You don't need to put FS dash na kasi nga description na to. Ilalagay na natin specifically saan part ng eroplano. So, lagay nyo 100 inches kasi sabi ko all measurements are in inches nga. Kahit anumang location identifier yan, inches yun. Aft of the reference 0. So, this is the reference point. Bakit aft ang gamit? Because walang negative value. Pag negative value, di ba, it's forward. Pero since wala tayong negative value and all values are positive, ilalagay nyo siya aft of the reference 0. Ibig sabihin, after siya ng reference 0. Kaya siya positive. So, kapag fuselage station, automatically nilalagay lagi ang aft of the reference 0. Ganun siya. So, another example, paano pag dalawa na? So, ilalagay nyo yung mas maliit na value first sa error code. So, we have here 150 and 250. So, error code will be FS-150 semicolon. So, gumagamit tayo ng semicolon to separate error codes. Bawal gumamit ng ibang bagay. Semicolon lang to separate error codes. Bawal gumamit ng comma, ng end, ng kung ano-ano pa. Basta semicolon lang. So, FS-150, semicolon, FS-250. And then, for the reading, the code, wrong grammar. The code errors are, dalawa na eh. So, plural, the code errors are located at FS-150 and FS-250. And then, for the description, the code errors are located at, so specify nyo lang, 150 inches and 250 inches aft of the reference 0. So again, inuulit ko, semicolon lang ang pwedeng pang-separate ng error codes. Bawal gumamit ng iba. Mag-stick to one kayo. Bawal magkaibang bagay dito. Okay. So, ganyan lang mag-read ng fuselage station. Again, vertical line ng graph. And, laging uunahin yung mas maliit na value. Next, for water lines, ginagamit naman natin ang y-axis. So, graphs for water lines are horizontal lines. Syempre, para tumama siya dun sa y-axis natin. The reference point, since sa fuselage station, ang gamit nating reference point ay reference 0. Pagdating naman sa water lines, mean sea level, kasi pataas nga tayo. So, pataas tayo. Ayun. So, 0, 0 is indicated as the mean sea level. So, how do we read errors in the water lines? Ganyan. So, this is the graph. It's a horizontal line, of course. And then, since sa fuselage station, we use FS. Of course, water line, we use WL. So, this is WL-120. And then, for the reading, copy lang. The code error is located at WL-120. And then, for the description, dito magkaiba ang fuselage station and water line. Since kanina, sabi ko sa fuselage station, ang gamit natin, aft of the reference 0. So, to indicate or to differentiate this one, ilalagay nyo siya above mean sea level. This indicates that the error is read from the water lines. So, for description, the code error is located at 120 inches above mean sea level. So, that is the difference between the fuselage station and the water lines. Let's have another example for water line. Paano pag dalawa? Again, uunahin nyo yung mas maliit na value. So, this is WL-90, semicolon, WL-130. Again, semicolon lang ang pwedeng maghiwalay ng error code. Bawal ang iba. Reading, the code errors are located at WL-90 and WL-130. For description, the code errors are located at 90 inches and 130 inches above mean sea level. Uunahin ulit yung mas maliit niya value. Again, above mean sea level to indicate that it's the water lines that you are using as the location identifier. Kapag aft of the reference 0 ang nasa description, it means fuselage station siya. Okay. Paano pag mix na? Since the fuselage stations and the water lines use the same view of an aircraft, which is the right side view, pwede tayong mag-indicate ng damage both ng sabay. So, kunwari ito. We have 2 damages for the fuselage stations and 1 for the water line. So, paano natin yan lalagyan ng error code, reading, and description? So, for error code, laging nauuna ang fuselage station. Tapos, water line. So, alphabetical order, tapos ascending. Maliit muna, palaki. So, FS-100, FS-200, and WL-90. Again, semicolon ang pang-separate. Reading, the code errors are located at FS-100, comma. Hindi semicolon, comma. Comma, FS-200 and WL-90. Again, pagdating sa reading, hindi na semicolon ang pang-separate, comma na. And then description, the code errors are located at 100 inches and 200 inches off of the reference 0. Bakit? Kasi yung 100 and 200 inches ay nasa fuselage station. So, ang reference point natin ay aft of the reference 0. And then, to indicate the water line, you put N 90 inches above mean sea level. So, ganyan lang. Unahin nyo lagi ang fuselage station, tapos water line. Another example, last example for fuselage station and water lines. So this is the graph. We have 3 errors for fuselage station and 2 errors for the water line. So unahin syempre ang fuselage station. So we have 140, 200, and 260. So it's FS-140 semicolon, FS-200 semicolon, FS-260 semicolon, WL-90 semicolon, and WL-130. So ito yun, yung dalawang horizontal line for water lines. So reading, the code errors are located at, tapos ilagay nyo lang lahat ng error code separated by a comma and not a semicolon. Again, for reading, comma, hindi semicolon. And then for the description, of course, indicate first those that are in the fuselage stations. So, unahin yung mga nasa aft of the reference 0. So, it's 140 inches, 200 inches, and 260 inches. Aft of the reference 0 and 90 inches and 130 inches above mean sea level for the water lines. So, again, for fuselage stations and water lines, wala tayong negative values. All values are positive. So, that is actually activity number 3. So, activity number 3 is about fuselage stations and water lines. So, the last location identifier is what we call Buttock Lights. So, yung Buttock Lines, isang buong activity siya. Kasi mas complicated siya ng konti dun sa dalawa. So, Buttock Lines, for activity number 4, use a different type of view for the aircraft. So, we use the top view of an aircraft. So, these are read using the top view of an aircraft. If you look closely, the reference point is at the middle. So, this is 0, 0. Ito ang 0, 0, nasa gitna. It's the center of the aircraft. Which means that we have both positive and negative values for errors. Unlike sa fuselage stations and water lines, positive lang. So, ito yung pagkakaiba ng Buttock Lines. We use the top view, plus we have negative values. So, yung mga nasa, this is the reference 0, of course, this is the reference point. So, lahat ng sa taas ay positive, lahat ng sa baba ay negative, syempre. So, the negative values are located in the left wing, thus we read them as LBL. LBL or left buttock line. This one. So, kung titingnan nyo, ito yung left wing ng aeroplano. So, all negative values are in the left wing. And then, positive values are located in the right wing. Thus, we read them as RBL. So, right buttock line. Always write the LBL errors first. Kahit mas maliit yung value ng nasa right wing, yung nasa RBL, laging inuunang isulat ang nasa left wing. or LBL. Okay. For example, we have two errors here. So, we have 100 here at the lower buttock line and 50 for the right buttock line. This is your 0. Kung hindi masyadong nakikita. This is your 0. So, unahin pa rin ang LBL kahit na malaki yung value niya compared sa RBL. So, LBL-100, semicolon, RBL-50 for the error code. For the reading, ulitin nyo lang, the code errors are located at LBL-100 and RBL-50. And then, this is where it gets different from the fuselage station and the water lines. Kasi dito parang pareho lang, diba? Magkaiba lang yung ginagamit yung code. Kasi LBL and RBL. So, dito, para malaman natin na nasa buttock line siya, dito nyo na makikita na meron siyang negative value. So, wala kayong ilalagay na reference point automatically kapag ganito buttock line siya. So, the code errors are located at negative 100 inches and 50 inches. Ganun lang. So, meron lang siyang negative value to indicate that it's on the buttock line and wala siyang reference point na indicated. Alam mo na nun agad na nasa buttock line siya. So, since negative to, alam mo na nasa lower buttock line, left buttock line yan. Tapos, ito positive value kaya nasa right buttock line. Ganun lang. So, another example. So, kung iisipin nyo, let's go back to this figure. Kung iisipin nyo, kapag buttock line ang ginagamit natin, dalawang lugar lang madalas ang pwedeng indicate kung nasaan yung error. It's either nasa wings or nasa horizontal stabilizer. So, how can we identify kung saan talaga, kung sa wing ba o sa horizontal stabilizer? So, once an error is at the buttock line, the damage can either be on the wings or it may be at the horizontal stabilizer once it is less than 77.3. So, I will send the original file for you para makita nyo ng mas malinaw. Pero this is 77.3 pareho. RBL 77.3 to LBL 77.3. Ito yung laki ng horizontal stabilizer. So, kapag ang error mas mababa dito, less than 77.3, pwedeng ang error nasa wing or nasa horizontal stab. Para mas madali ang trabaho ng mga mekaniko, para mas specify kung saan talaga siya, ilalagay natin ng rectangle kung saan yung area ng damage. So, to specify the exact location, the area is enclosed in a rectangle. So, paano ba magsulat? Paano ba ang pagkakaiba nito kapag dating sa error code, reading, and description? Sa description, uunahin nyo lagi ang nasa horizontal stabilizer. Pero ang error code at reading, same lang. Ulit ko, pag error code and reading, same lang ng pagbabasa ng water line sa fuselage station. Una yung LBL, tapos RBL. Pero pagdating sa description, uunahin muna lahat ng nasa horizontal stabilizer regardless kung nasaan siyang part ng buttock line. Kung LBL ba siya or RBL. So, paano ba yun? For example, this is my graph. So, the first box is at the wing, ang nasa LBL. And then, ang nasa RBL ay nasa horizontal stabilizer. So, for error code, again, unahin lang ang LBL. LBL60, LBL100, RBL60, RBL130, separated by semicolons. For the reading, the code errors are located at, just copy this one, but instead of a semicolon, comma. And then this is where it gets different. For the description, uunahin ang nasa horizontal stabilizer. Again, since ito ang nasa horizontal stabilizer, this is your RBL. This one. Unahin nyo siya. So, the code errors are located at 60 inches, positive 60 inches at the horizontal stabilizer, and ilagay nyo na lahat ng nasa wings niyan. Negative 60 inches, this one, negative 100 inches, and the positive one, 130 inches. So, automatically, kapag walang nakalagay, automatic nasa wing yung damage. Kapag wala siyang at the whatever. Agad tong nasa wing na kagad yung damage. So again, regardless kung positive siya, unahin pa rin ang nasa horizontal stabilizer pagdating lang naman sa description. Pero pa sa error code tsaka sa reading, same lang na unahin yung LBL tapos RBL. So last example. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 errors, graphs. So we have 5 graphs. We have an LBL 30 na nasa wing, LBL 60 na nasa horizontal stub, LBL 100, RBL 60 na nasa horizontal stub, and RBL 130 na nasa wing. So, yan. Separated by semicolon. Again, unahin lang LBL, tapos RBL. Lahat muna ng LBL, tapos RBL. Separated by a semicolon. Reading. Just copy this one, separated by a comma, not a semicolon. And then, for the description, this is now the different one. Kasi unahin nga ulit ang nasa horizontal stabilizer. So, meron tayong dalawang errors na nasa horizontal stab. Negative 60 and positive 60. So, ilalagay nyo muna, the code errors are located at negative 60 inches and 60 inches. Negative 60 and 60 inches at the horizontal stabilizer, since this both are indicated na nasa horizontal stabilizer. Kasi dito yung naka-box. And, ilagay nyo na yung mga nasa wings. Unahin yung LBL. Negative 30 inches, negative 100 inches, and the RBL. 130 inches. So, actually, that's all for the location identifiers. I'll be posting this PowerPoint for you to be able to recall them. I hope you understood this lesson and stay safe. Thanks for subscribing.